went to the Dollar Tree the other day and I picked up this. It looks like an ordinary circle, but it's a Lazy Susan. I love this. So it actually had a design on the top of it, which I didn't really like, so I sanded it off and I gave it a little bit of like a whitewash of like an off-white paint. So it is super pretty. I wanted it to be rustic so it isn't painted solidly, but wait till you see what we're going to do with this. First of all, I have a new transfer from Chalk Couture. It is called Sunflower Pattern. Look at this big, beautiful design. It is matching so that if you do the whole thing and you want to do some more, like if you're doing a table runner or something, this side will match up on this side so that you can continue the pattern all the way across your design. So we are going to do this on top of that Lazy Susan. I want to show you the colors that I'm going to be using today. Sunflowers are my absolute favorite flowers, and they come in all different colors, but basically they come in like a beautiful yellow or gold. I have marigold that I'm going to be using. This is a new fall color. I have my favorite green that I'm going to do the stems and the leaves with. This is eucalyptus. I am going to be using espresso, this nice semi-sweet chocolate color for all of the outlining. And I have this one here, which is called Cozy. This, I don't know if it's available anymore. I will check, but look for like a rusty colored chalk paste if this one's not available. You ready to get started? So if you are doing this at home, be sure to like stop and start this video and follow along as you like. Again, that Lazy Susan was from the dollar store. I can't believe I think I bought the most expensive thing in the dollar store. It was $7, but I think it's a great deal. So let's see how it goes, okay? Okay, so the first thing that I always do when I have a new transfer is I peel the corner back a little bit. All you need to do is kind of roll your thumb along the edge and it should peel right up. Check and see how sticky it is. If it's super sticky, you want to do something called fuzzing. So I am going to fuzz this transfer because it is pretty sticky, and I did, I really did just paint that surface. So I don't want it to stick too tightly to it. So let's peel this away. Just be careful if it sticks together to pull it apart very gently. And then you're going to take a fuzzing towel. I'm using one that's available in my store. It's called a fuzzing towel. You can also use a bath towel, a dish towel, anything that you can put on top of your transfer on the sticky side to make it not quite as sticky. It just adds a little bit of fuzz and softens that stickiness. So you're just going to pick it on and off a couple of times. If it doesn't feel really sticky after you do this, don't worry about that, because after you use this transfer, you are going to take it to your sink, wash it, dry it sticky side up. It will be just as sticky as when it was brand new, and you can use it over and over again. Okay, next we're going to get our surface out. Now I noticed that there's a sunflower right in the center that's mostly like the seed part of the sunflower, and I wanted to have more of the sunflowers that are blossomed showing a little bit more. So I'm gonna kind of slide this around a little bit. I can see I've got a pretty large sunflower here and here, and this is the seedy one kind of off to the side, and another blossom of one right here. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to smooth that down nice and tight with my hand. Got a little fold right here. I'm going to see if that will come out. Nope, it's just part of it. Not a big deal. Smooth that out nice and tight with your hands. And what we're going to do is we are going to go over the whole design with our espresso colored chalk paste and a small squeegee. So let me get that stirred up and we'll get started. Okay, so our espresso chalk paste is creamy, dreamy, and it should be about the consistency of sour cream. If you find that your paste has gotten a little thick over time, which it does sometimes, spray a little bit of distilled water into your paste and stir, stir, stir until it's nice and smooth again. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our rubber squeegee. I'm going to use this the small one for this project because I'm covering a large area. There actually is one that's larger, but I think this will be fine. And this is the mini squeegee, which you see me use most of the time. So that's the difference. All right, so we're going to take that paste and just start smoothing it over the whole design. I'm going to need more than I just took, but I'm going to start with this. And you want a nice thin coat covering everything. And you do want to be sort of quick about this piece because you're doing a very large area, and it's important that your paste doesn't dry before you remove the transfer from the carrier sheet. Oops, I'm sorry, from the surface that you're pasting it onto. I got a little bug in my room and it's flying all around me. Okay, a little bit more. There, we're almost done. So make sure that you've got all of those open areas covered, and then go back over the design and scoop off all the excess that you have. You might notice there's a little puddle of it right there. Just scoop it out. And there's very, very little waste when we're using our chalk paste. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so while it's still wet, you're going to peel the transfer from the carrier sheet. I usually start at the corner and I use my fingers to grab part of the surface so that I'm not stretching it too much. As soon as you can, grab the transfer from the center of the edge like this and just pull nice and gentle. Really, really pretty. What do you think? Okay, ready for the next step? I think we're going to start with this sunflower right here. I want to see how my colors blend together. Again, I'm using Marigold and I'm using Cozy, which is a really pretty rusty color. If that is not available, I know this one is, but if Cozy isn't available, just look for like a rusty rusty orange color. Even an orange color or a deep red will look really pretty too. So you want to have some water and you want to have a paintbrush. That's about the right size for what you're working on. So I'm going to be dipping my paintbrush into some water, and I'm going to grab some of this chalk paste. I don't know if you can see it right off to the side here. And I'm going to start just by painting in the petals. Now, if you happen to cover any of your detail lines, don't worry about it. If you want to, when you're all done, you can lay your transfer back on top of the design and add those details right back in. I don't really care if this is too darkly painted. Darkly, there's a word for you. I need a little more water for this. I don't mind if it's a bit opaque. That is perfectly okay with me. It's not really, I'm not really trying to make it look solid. So that is why you're going to see that this is a little bit translucent, because I love to see the grain of the wood underneath. Do you? All right. Just keep going from the water to your surface. And I'm sorry, your water to your paste. You know me, I cannot talk and paint at the same time. So while this is still wet, I am going to go in and get some of that rusty color, because I want it to be a little bit shaded with this color on right along the centers of the flower. Just a little dab of that. Oops, I got some. Shouldn't have got that yellow paint in my jar, but I did. It's okay, no big deal. Should have cleaned my brush first, right? All right, we're gonna go in with just a tiny little bit and just sort of blend it out from the center of the flower. It's not gonna be anything like too out there and bold. I'm gonna take it right from the lid, then I don't really care if I get yellow in it, right? Just a little touch. It's sort of like shading. Okay, and blend that in till you're happy with it, and then start on your next petal. You're just going to keep working your way around the flower in the same way. I usually start at the tips. It looks like there's a petal behind here, so I'm going to grab that while I'm in the area, or I'll forget to do it later, and then go here. And again, if you happen to smudge a little bit, just take your finger and push it off. Push it right off. I think this Cozy doesn't want to spread as easily because it is a shimmer paste. That could be why. Okay, it's looking good though. I'm going to start speeding up this video so that you can see me do the whole thing really, really quickly. Painted up. I think it looks pretty nice. I will say that the Cozy chalk paste that I was using is a little bit hard to blend because it's got that bit of grit in it that what makes it shimmer just a tiny little bit. But just play with it and play with it, and I think you're going to love the results that you get. So I'm going to do the other 3 flowers, and you're going to do them in exactly the same way, and we'll come back and start working on the leaves when those are done. Okay? So I just finished painting my sunflowers. It was a little labor intensive. Just take your time and work your way around the flowers. Probably the hardest part was doing the color called Cozy around the inside edges of the flower. I think the only reason that it was harder was because, like I said, it has a little bit of that grit in it. So it's just a little bit harder to blend. But keep at it, keep blending, add more yellow, add more Cozy. Just keep working it as you want. The next thing we're going to do are the leaves. So let's start that. All right, it's time to get started with the leaves and the stems. And I'm going to be using the color Eucalyptus, my very favorite green color. I use this so often. It's got kind of a little hint of blue in it. It's just really, really pretty. So it's one of my favorite colors. So I'm going to start using that. And I think to do the shading on the stems and the leaves, I am going to mix a little bit of the pesto with probably a little bit of brown just to darken it a little bit. But brown is a little less harsh than black, so we're going to go with the light brown. So I'm just going to start again, just like we did with the chalk paste for the flowers. We're going to dampen the brush a little bit and just kind of paint between the lines. Again, if you like this thicker, go with a thicker coat, or if you like to see the grain of the wood behind it, just water it down just by using a damp paintbrush. So we're just going to continue painting with the green. I think this is going to be so pretty. I love it so far. this should not take quite as long as the petals. That did take a bit of time. I think, as I said before, using that paint, the chalk paste that had the shimmer in it, it made it a little bit more difficult to use as shading, but it's fine. It's a little rustic looking, and that's the way I like it. All right, so let's base coat this stuff, and we'll come back and I'll show you how to do some shading. We've got all of our leaves base coated. So the next thing that we're going to do is add some highlights to those leaves. So I put a little bit of that eucalyptus paste into a little plastic plate here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop out a tiny little bit of the espresso that we were using early, just a little bit, about that much. And I'm going to mix it in with that green. That should just be enough to tone this down and make it a little darker than our original eucalyptus. And that's what I'm going to use for shading. So it's looking pretty good. Can't get this flat in my plate to stir it pretty well, but that's not bad. Okay. All right, let me put that aside. So here's our slightly darkened paste. And I am actually using a smaller brush for this, but you can use whatever shading tool that you want. And what you're going to do is you're going to want to shade anything that is either layered underneath something else, like this stem right here is underneath this leaf. This stem right here is underneath this leaf of the petal of the flower, and probably underneath of that leaf too. So we're going to start just by getting a tiny bit of paste on your brush and go to the areas that will be naturally getting shaded by something over it, and just add a little bit of that chalk paste in there and blend it. You just want to use a tiny little bit. Again, you can wet your brush if that helps you. It's not going to be like a real obvious color change unless your paint is really, really dark. So we're just going to just do a little bit there. We'll put a little bit here while we're in that area. And just kind of blend it into what you've already done. We just went outside the lines there a second ago, but I'm not going to worry about that because we are going to take care of all that later. Next, I'm going to go to this area here, which would go underneath the leaf, and just blend that up into the eucalyptus. This is the brown espresso mixed with eucalyptus. Okay, get that a little wet, and bring your brush in and blend that out. Okay. My brush is like barely damp. Okay, so you're going to continue doing that all the way around. Right here where it goes underneath the petals, just a tiny little bit in there. This would be shaded right in this area. I'm just going to kind of brush off my brush and pull it down. And again, right here where this part is going underneath the leaf. Brush it off and blend it down. Believe it or not, that is going to make a difference. So you're also going to take notice that there are leaves and veins that are in the leaves, and we're going to do a little bit of shading in there. Don't worry about it being perfect, just kind of brush it on there where the veins of the leaves are. They might be covered by your chalk paste that we already put on the first coat, the base coat of this, but it will show up a little bit later because we're going to put the transfer back on top of this design, and it's going to bring all those details back. So kind of dry brush that in and blend it out so that it's not too obvious. Okay. I am not an expert painter, but this is the way that I've learned how to do things. I hope it helps you too. So still, if your lines look a little too stark, just go in there with some water and blend it out. There we go. Keep playing with these parts right here. Sure, it'll be okay, but it's all right to just keep playing with it. Same thing down here, this little flower, this little leaf rather. Should have dry brushed that a little bit better. Just lightly put some darkness in where those veins are going to be. Done. And we've got a little vein here. This part here is probably going to be mostly shaded. And then we're going to go underneath that leaf there. Any place where it's going underneath something where it would be a little bit darker. The sun wouldn't be shining so much right there. The light wouldn't be hitting it. This is kind of hard to explain. For me anyway. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this and we'll come back when I'm done. All of our shading of our leaves and stems is done. So I thought of one other thing I wanted to add before we overlay the whole design with our transfer again. So you can see that a lot of the seeds that would be in the center of the sunflower are white, and I do want to add a little bit of color to that. So I've got the color chalk paste called Camel. It's kind of a light coffee colored brown, and I'm going to cover some of the seeds with this color. Not all of them, just kind of around in a circular area, so that we can have a little bit more depth to the center of the flowers. So all I really did right here was to add some of that camel to a circular area in the centers, not quite in the centers, but right around the centers of all of the sunflowers here. So we've got the centers of our flowers done, and I have laid the transfer back on top of the whole tray, lining it up as best as I can. I'm home alone tonight, so I did end up using some tape to hold it steady on the table while I placed it. I think it's pretty good. It's probably about as good as I can get it, even if I had help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that espresso paste one more time. Oops, let me find my big squeegee here. I have another one right here. And we're going to go over the whole design again. And this is going to bring back all of the details that we might have chalked over earlier. So there you go. Just keep spreading that over just like you did the first time. You don't want to press this down too hard on your freshly chalked piece, because it could stick to the transfer and pull the original paste up when you pull the transfer off. So just use a gentle hand, but you do want it to go through, so nice, firm but gentle, which should do the trick. So you want to cover the whole thing. I am psyched to see what this looks like all done. This is going to make such a difference when we pull it off. A little more down here and we are done. If you have any touch-ups to do after, you go right back in with your little paintbrush and fix those things. There we go. All the excess is coming back off into the jar. Looking good. All right, are you ready for the big peel and reveal? I sure am. Okay. Oops, I just spotted a spot I missed right here. Or maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Hard to tell. Because it's right on the edge. Check your edges. All right, really, here's the peel and reveal. Abracadabra. Please look good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I love it. Oh my goodness. It's gorgeous. Oh my gosh, you guys. I cannot tell you how thrilled I am with the way this came out. Isn't it beautiful? We hold it up close. Look at all the detail that we brought back out when we laid the transfer on for the second time. It came out beautiful. I cannot wait to use this. I have a perfect table runner that I'm going to dig out for the fall. That is going to look so pretty underneath this on my dining room table. So I hope you enjoyed this video and this demonstration. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll get back to you. I am also going to give you a keyword to use. The keyword is sunflower. If you would like the products that I use from Chalkateur, the transfer, the paste, the squeegees, everything but this, the tray, the Lazy Susan, which I got again from the Dollar Tree. So run on over there and grab a couple, because oh my gosh, you can make these for gifts for so many people. Everybody loves sunflowers, right? Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again with another demonstration real soon. Bye!